So in this video, we're going to do IK system, yeah, and some dynamic tail wiggling as well. Now the tail is not quite finished. I'm going to do probably some more work on it, so don't take this here as the final result. But the IK system itself works pretty good. You can see he's kind of leaning and whatever, and the feet stay on the ground when he's running. I'm definitely sure this can be done better, but this is the solution I came up with, and honestly, I don't have much more energy to like put more time into that. Eventually I'm going to rework it in one of my next semi-human characters, but honestly, I've seen worse IK systems before, so this is, actually I'm pretty proud of it. So, could be worse. So what do we start with? First of all, I want to show you, I've set up a little slow-mo system, so we can actually see how he's reacting. Look at it in fine detail. So obviously when you look at it at fine detail, you will always see some errors, yeah, but many games have those clipping problems, etc. So like I said, it can be better, it can probably be absolutely accurate, but it will just decrease performance a lot. And yeah, you don't always want everything perfect because it's very cost intensive, even though it could maybe. But yeah, to the slow-mo system. First of all, go to Edit, Project Settings, and under Input here, you can, here under Axis Mapping, make a new one and hit slow-mo, name it slow-mo, and use the Q button or whichever one you want to use. Next, we go to the blueprint here in the character, and we only need a few nodes here. So you can see I have my slow-mo here. All you need is like the input slow-mo, the one with the arrow, right? And then you use a flip-flop. A flip-flop is just like a switch, yeah? You press it once, it goes to A, you press it another time, it goes to B. And then the other thing is called set global time dilation, yeah? Set global time dilation, yeah? And you put one into A, you put one into B, and one you give a 1 for the normal time, and the other one you just make slower, like 0.05 or something, I don't know. And you get this slow-mo thing I also have. And then I'll run and press Q, it's going to be in slow-mo. So next, if you go to your animation blueprint here and we take a look, I already set up some other things here, obviously, but the thing you also should have is the in-air, right? We set this up for the jump. This is what we need to use right now. So if we go now to the anim graph, we also have this variable here, and I want you to put it in. Let me just move this out of the way because we're going to do this together again. And so what do we do? This should be connected for you. And in here we have our jump and whatever. And what we need is a control rig. Control rig. So, and now we can plug this control rig in between. The control rig isn't set up yet, so we have to go over here and choose one. Though we don't have one yet, so we need to create one. And you can see I put all my control rigs, you only have one right now, into a separate folder. You can do this as well. Just right click, new folder, drag it in, and also hit right click on content and fix up redirectory. And then in here you can see I have a few ones. I also have a test here, which I can probably delete. The control rig for animations. I have an old version, which I just want to save because I saved some logic in there. This one doesn't matter to you. I have a dynamic one and I have one for the tail. Don't worry, we're going to do this together. You only have one. So right click, we're going to make a new animation, control rig, select it, create, and we call this dark underscore creature underscore dynamic control rig. And I'm going to put YouTube in the back, so I know this is the one we're going to create currently. So we have one here. We can open this up, and we are in our control rig. So first of all, like always, we have to go over here, choose our preview mesh, import a hierarchy from our dark creature, hit OK, and we will get all of our bonds eventually. There we go. This is step number 1. Then we need to go back to the animation blueprint where we put in the control rig in between. Now we just have to select our control rig we just made. Yeah, and it will be in here. Why do I ask if it's in air? Because we are going to work with the IK system. So when we are in air, we don't actually want the arms and feet to do something. So we have to get this boolean somewhere in here, right? For that, we go to our IK, our control rig, and we go down to my blueprints. If you don't have that, look under Windows and look for my blueprints. Here it is, and you will have this window. Then we're creating a variable, and we call this exactly the same is in air. Question mark. So, and now we need to expose this boolean. You could either click on the eye here, or you can click on instance editable, and the eye will turn on. It's the same thing. And you hit apply, compile, and you go back to our animation blueprint. In here now, if you select it, you can scroll down, and there you have inputs. Use pin, and you will have this variable, the variable which we created here in the control rig and exposed it. Exposing it so we can use it here, and we can plug this in, and we will get our question if it's an error or not. Hit compile, and we can go back to our animation, our control rig, and we can drag this out, make a branch, if it would let me, branch, and we can drag on this boolean here, get it, set it. So now basically what's happening is from the animation blueprint where we created our is in air, it's going into the anim graph, into the control rig, where we now can set things based on is it in air or not. So next we definitely need some controls and spaces. So let's create some. So first of all, we have to solve a problem here, our feed again. We could probably copy it over, but I'm going to do this separately again, because I don't trust the bones whatsoever. So I'm going to the calf here. I'm just going to right click on it, new bone, and I'm going to right click the bone, select the bone, right click the bone, control, transform, and you're just going to place it exactly down here, kind of at the last vertex here, exactly here. Then I'm going to right click the bone, set initial, transform from current, hit compile, and it's in there. Now we're going to rename this bone to foot, actually foot underscore L. And then we're going to right click the foot and we're going to mirror it, and we are mirroring underscore L to underscore R, hit OK. And we can drag this now down onto the other calf, and it's broken now, hit compile, and it should work. Now usually you would be able to use these bones, but for some reason there's a bug or something, we have to create a space on this thing here. So right click, new space, and also control, and we're going to call this foot underscore L, copy it and paste it in here. And next time I'm going to make a character, I'm making absolutely sure I have like some end bones or whatever. This is super annoying, but yeah, we can just mirror this here, mirror underscore L to underscore R, hit OK. And we're going to drop this onto the calf. Yeah, not onto the foot itself, onto the calf. And same thing goes for that one here. Now let's hit compile. This is what we want. Let's give them a little bit of a different form. Let's use a box here or something. Box, and make this like, I don't know, 0.05, 0.05, 0.05, just so it's like pretty small in there. Same thing for the other one. Now, those are just replacements for the foot bone. Yeah. While we have a bone, we put a space on it, and the space is the replacement for the bone. We cannot actually use those bones. They're broken. I don't freaking know. Now we need actual controls. The cube is just a bone in our mind currently. That's just how it is. If you have proper bones there, you can just use the bones. But this is sadly something I cannot work around right now. So now we need the controls. So we're going to make a new space, and we're going to call this, I don't know, let's call it index underscore L, because the reason I'm going to use the index as a effector here is because when we are running, we animated it in a way he's running on the fingers. He's not actually running on the hand. Usually on most quadrupeds, it's like the hand in quotes, yeah, or the foot. But for us, it's the index where he's running on. A control. Let's make right away a sphere out of that. Sphere thick, and we're going to make a 0.1 out of that. 0.1, and we're going to properly copy the name, paste the name, mirror the thing here, underscore L to underscore R, mirror it, drop it on, and we have 2 here. So then we need 2 spaces for the feed as well. So let's create a new space here. We're going to call this foot underscore R. Actually, we need to name this a little bit different because those are store values. So you know what? Let's call this store everything store underscore, okay? With that, we have the base controls, though I already know we also need one for the neck and the head. So let's create one for the neck and the head as well. Right click, new space, and this is going to be store underscore head store underscore head. Copy the name, control and F2, control V, enter. And we need one for the neck. So probably could have created in a different way, but space, store underscore neck underscore neck. Copy the name, enter, control N, F2, control V, enter. So, and we should probably also give those different forms. So let's make a sphere here, and there we go. Yeah, so now we want to set all those bones, right? We want those controls. We want them on the correct bone. So what we're going to do is, first of all, let's ignore the is in air. Yeah, we're not going to work with it. We just need it when we're playing, yeah, because here he's never in air. So let's grab this out here. So let's select all of our stores, not the controls, only the stores and only the spaces, and create a collection. And now we need the same bones according to it. So I'm going to unfold this, or you know what, let's just copy this over, probably easier. I'm going to change all of those to bones. And now I have to change 2 back though, because we're comparing those now. And the first one is the index. I know the index we have a finger, so I'm going to actually change this to index underscore 01L. Yeah. The second one is a bone, the index 1R. Then we have the foot. Now for the foot, we have spaces instead of bones. Well, here in the calf, where we set up the foot space, right? So we change this to a space, which would normally be an actual bone if we had one. Foot, and we want the bone replacement, not the store, the bone. So foot L. And here this is also going to be a space, foot underscore R. Now, okay, those are comparing, nice. Now we need the head, so bone to the head. And here we have the space, neck, bone, neck. And now those are comparing, though now we need for each item. And we're going to plug one, I think it doesn't matter, just one in here. And then we get a add index, item at index. And we're going to plug in this here and the index in here. So now those two are comparing, yeah. So it knows, it compares the store, space store index with the bone index. And now we need a set transform. The proper set transform, yeah. And we want the execute to be connected. And what do we want to set it with? We need, for that we need to get transform. So we can get a transform and we can set a transform. And what do we want to get? We want to get the bones, and we can see the bones are connected in here in the item at index. So we just plug this in here. And what do we want to set? We want to set the stores to the bones. So we grab this up here, plug this in. Now we compile. You can see all of our spaces are actually where they should be. If they are not, compare that you use the right order here. The left with the right, the left with the right, the left with the right, etc. And like I said, we are using spaces here because we are currently using spaces on the foot as a replacement for our bones. I would like to use those here, those actual bones we created, but they're broken. And without it, it also doesn't work. It's really buggy. It's honestly just found this by try and error. Okay, so first step is done. We set our spaces. Let's make a sequence so we can get to our second step. I'm just going to drag this down here, make a reroute. And the second step, I would say, let's first of all create some IKs, right? We could actually go to our other file here. It might make it a little bit quicker, come on. And we could get our IKs. Where were they? Here we have the arm IK. I want a foot IK. Here we have the foot IK, and we want the one, actually it doesn't matter. And you can literally just copy this node here. We could copy probably a few more things, but we don't want too much in this file, so it's not getting too heavy. But this one is already set up right, so I know this. We can just plug it in, though it's going to probably break because we don't have an effector. The effector is going to be this control here. Let's just select it, and we see where the control is, get it out, get. And we can just plug this in here into the effector, compile. And you can see now we can move it. Though we don't have a pole, like we did in the other file, we could now completely calculate the pole here, right? Though we do this a little bit different. But you can see the pole isn't quite working, right? And I don't really want to plug in a manual one. I mean, we can try, let's just try the calf and get the calf and plug in the calf here, the translation. But I doubt this is going to work. Actually, it's working. It's breaking here though. Yeah, you know what? Let's set this manually. I can show you a little bit debug there as well. So we can right click on the pole vector here and we can add visual debug. I don't think we're going to see anything. Let's hit compile here. And we see now a little red square here, which is our pole currently. If we just right click this here, control pin value. Sometimes it's a bit broken. For example, right now you can see I cannot select it. I need to deselect everything. Just click somewhere. And right click here again and control pin value. And now I can move it. Yeah, I can see the value is changing. So I'm actually moving it right now. And I'm going to move this here in front. Could calculate this a bit better maybe, but it's fine. And we can hit compile. And now we can see our pole is in front here. And if we now move our control, it's kind of where it should be. Though I think it could be a little bit higher. If it's higher, we are a little bit more safe. So control pin value and not working. Deselect everything. Pin value. Move this a bit higher here, a little bit over there. Maybe with a little bit of space here. Compile, and now we should be rather safe here. Yep, that's pretty good. Like I said, we could calculate it like we did in the other one, but I don't want too much in here, so I'm just going to set it manually. Now for the other side, we're just going to copy this here, paste it, plug this in here, and we're going to change this from L to R, and we're going to change, by the way, can I select you? Replace, I wonder. At some point it worked. Underscore R. Oh, sometimes not. however it feels like. Right click on here, reset pin values, right click, make sure you don't select anything here, then right click and control pin value, there we go. That's going to move this X. I guess we could have just simply flipped X. Let's just copy the values over, I guess we can just flip X. So basically copy X and just make a minus out of that. And this should be pretty much symmetrical now, because height is the same, depth is the same, and X is just simply on the other side. And there we go, we get some IKs here. So now, usually for the arms, I would also use an IK, but the problem here is that we have 3 bones, right? We have the upper arm, the lower arm, and the hand, and then the index, right? So we have actually 4 bones, yeah? 3 bones which we want to modify. So instead, just for now, as a replacement, I'm going to use a ccdik, so we can actually work with it. Now here we have items, and we just specify, I mean, it's a good chance to show you another node. So later on, we're going to switch this anyway. It's just for now. So let's use the ccdik here. We just get items. Can we get an item chain? Item chain might be fine. Item chain, there we go. And we want from the bone upper arm L to the index 1L. It's in here. Pile, breaking, propagate to children, so the children follow. And we want an effector now. The effector is going to be this one here. Let's grab it out here. Get, plug it in, and hit compile. And now if we move this, you can see the arm is following, though obviously we don't have a pole here with a ccdik. No, it's just a replacement now anyway. So let's copy this over, plug this in, and use, can we do this? Search and replace, _L, _R, and index R here. All right. And with that, we should already get IKs. Now, obviously, like I said, only a replacement, but we already have everything we need. We set our controls and we set up the IKs. Now we just have to do the offset. Yeah? The basic idea is just to offset the hands over the ground. I'm going to go a little bit more into that in a second, but let's go to the sequence first of all. And by holding control, you can grab this here and drag this down onto the other one, so we can work with a B here.